Welcome to another video on the Inside the Scriptures channel. So, this is the third episode of our series on the Sermon on the Mount. In the previous videos, we saw Jesus first define who the true disciple is through the Beatitudes, and then explain how that disciple lives by deepening the law and shifting the center of righteousness from external behavior to the human heart. Now, in Matthew chapter 6, the Master takes another decisive step. He does not change the subject. Rather, he deepens the same theme. If in chapter 5 Jesus showed that the righteousness of the kingdom is internal, now he teaches us how that righteousness manifests itself in everyday spiritual life. The focus is not only on what we do, but above all, on for whom we do it. Stay until the end of the video to learn more details about some of Jesus's most important teachings. The motivation behind spiritual practices. Right at the beginning of the chapter, the Lord presents a warning that serves as the key to the entire passage. Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, for then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. Here, Jesus does not condemn spiritual practices. Giving alms, praying, and fasting are not only good practices, they are part of the spiritual tradition of God's people. What he confronts is something deeper, the transformation of piety into religious performance. The problem is not the practice itself, but the motivation of the heart. It is not the act, but the audience. It is not devotion, but the desire for recognition. Throughout the chapter, Jesus presents three classic examples of Jewish spirituality, always following the same logic. What is done to be seen by others has already received its reward. What is done before the Father in secret will be rewarded by him. When speaking about giving alms, the Lord dismantles the idea of generosity as a tool for spiritual self-promotion. The hand that helps does not need the sound of self-advertisement. In the kingdom of God, true generosity does not seek applause because it is born from a heart that has already been reached by grace. Next, Jesus addresses prayer. He confronts both exhibitionist prayer and mechanical prayer, empty of relationship. The Master reminds us of something essential. We do not pray to inform God, but to align ourselves with him. God is Father, he knows our needs, and he calls us into a real relationship, not a religious performance. It is in this context that the Lord's Prayer appears, not as a magical formula, but as a model of prayer that reorganizes the disciple's heart. Before any request, there is recognition. Before provision, there is submission. Before deliverance, there is trust. Prayer in the kingdom is an expression of dependence, not an attempt at control. The same principle appears when Jesus speaks about fasting. Fasting is not self-punishment, nor a public display of holiness. It is a spiritual discipline that points to God, not to the one who fasts. A gloomy face and an air of religious suffering do not glorify the Father. A humble heart does. This teaching also reinforces what is described in Isaiah 58. Up to this point, the message is clear and consistent. The Father sees what no one else sees, the intention and purity of the heart. Kingdom spirituality happens, for the most part, far from human eyes. The treasures of the heart. From here, Jesus broadens the horizon and connects spirituality with what most clearly reveals the human heart: treasures, security, and anxiety. Where our treasure is, there our heart will be also. Spiritual life cannot be disconnected from the way we deal with money, the future, and our worries. The Master makes it clear that a divided heart produces an unstable spiritual life. The call is not to irresponsibility, but to trust. Not to passivity, but to correct priorities. Seeking first the kingdom of God does not mean abandoning the world, but living in it without making it our ultimate source of security. When Jesus addresses anxiety, he does not ignore human needs. On the contrary, he reveals a deeper problem: anxiety that arises when we live as if God were not Father. Excessive worry often reveals a theoretical faith that has not yet become practical trust. All of this leads us back to the Beatitudes. The poor in spirit trust the Father. The meek do not need self-assertion. The pure in heart live before God, not before people. Matthew 6 is the natural continuation of Matthew 5 because authentic spirituality is the fruit of a transformed character. Jesus redefines piety. He shows us that kingdom righteousness is not sustained by appearances, is not measured by applause, and is not fueled by anxiety. It is born from a heart that knows God is Father, sees in secret, and cares for his children. Conclusion. In the next episode, we will see how the Master concludes the Sermon on the Mount by calling his listeners to decision. Jesus will show that hearing is not enough, it is necessary to practice. The kingdom is not merely contemplated, it is lived. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and follow the next episodes. I hope this content helps you deepen your faith and live a true spirituality before God. May the Lord bless us all.